Hey everyone, this is Mike Rui speaking for Pancake Sniffers again. Make sure to check out my channel, which is linked in the description. Today we will be continuing and building upon all the evidence that we have come upon within the last few weeks against Vortex, who claims to be a 60Hz wave master, in order to finally put this situation to rest. This video will be the most comprehensive one yet, going into the means by which he cheated, and our reasons to believe that he cheated on every notable achievement up until now. Make sure to watch this whole video, especially if you're trying to make a claim against us. Also, keep in mind that some of our comments are out of date that we'll be showing in this video, because we encountered new information along the way. Anyways, let's get right into it. So we start our story when Vortex claims to have beaten Poltergeist. The first thing to notice is that for every single one of the progress videos that he made, and the completion video, the movements are exactly the same with only 1 or 2 exceptions total. Here's Pancake Sniffers on that matter.
Okay, so here we have some really big proof against Vortex here. So if you line up all these videos at the exact same speed, at the exact same frame, you can tell, like, the movements in each video are exactly the same, which probably hints towards either I'm leaning more towards tasked or X-botted or whatever, but it also could have been autoed. So we have them all lined up exactly, like, to the frame basically, and as you can tell by looking at each one of them, pretty much all of the movements are exactly the same, and this is pretty hard to deny. And while a couple parts seem to have been reprogrammed a little bit, but you can tell that they're the exact same movements. So yeah, they're exactly the same movements basically. There's, as I said, there's basically no way to, like, explain this. Like, I don't know. And also this death at 48 it really doesn't make any sense that like, the way he died. It just isn't really something a human would do. Like, so yeah, even like the cube movements up here, you can tell, besides like that jump that he decided to add in, like, and that one right there, these are timed basically at the exact same moment. So either X-spotted, autoed, or something like that. So yeah, I think that's about all the evidence we need to disprove that video anyways.
So to sum that up, we have basically proven that he either botted his completion or he autoed it. It's almost impossible to defend him on these videos because the precision required to do this is literally inhuman. In addition to that proof, we also have evidence that he made it impossible to die at the ship part. He did this by adding a corridor of blocks that he can go through, which he tries to hide by attempting to straight fly through it. You can see from this footage that he bumps into these blocks a few times as he tries to pretend to be able to straight fly. With all this proof in mind, it's almost, if not completely, impossible to legitimately defend Vortex in this situation. It's completely indisputable that he autoed his level. The next completion that he claims to have done is Unnerfed Paracosm circles. This one is pretty obvious if you look closely. First off, he made no progress videos before releasing this video. He brushes this off, claiming that he fluked from 42 to 97 and then beat it. This is extremely unlikely, considering that he claims in this comment that Unnerfed Paracosm circles is harder than Sakupen Hell in my opinion. Paracosm circles got me ready for Sakupen Hell. With all of this in mind, it is very unlikely that this is the case. As you will see with the next pieces of proof, he is usually lazy with his ways of giving proof and making explanations. The most likely explanation for this is that he was too lazy to make another version of the auto or bot, and didn't want to get caught making the same movement in both levels, which would likely cause suspicion. This isn't even taking into account the amount of inhuman wave movements in that video alone. Here they are right now. These two images that you see right now were from different parts of the video, yet looked the same. For this image, the wave completely disregards the portal and goes straight through it, The last piece of evidence that we have for unnerfed Paracosm circles is probably the biggest proof we have so far. It's blatant proof of auto, and it's impossible to deny. As you can see here, his ship lands on an invisible platform, which is most likely to line him up for the auto part in the wave. The footage that you see now is from Tosh Deluxe on the exact same level, and you can see that this invisible platform isn't in the level originally. Now you may be thinking that maybe Tosh Deluxe removed it, but here are 2 more completion videos. Vortex clearly added this in, and if this isn't all the proof you need against him, I'm not sure what is. Okay everyone, now it's time for some intermission. I will be interviewing Pancake, Sniffers, and Miles on Vortex himself. Pancake, Sniffers, what was the first thing you noticed when watching Vortex's completions, and what started your suspicion?
So, I'd say the first thing I probably noticed from Vortex's completions is Poltergeist completion and 90% video. First of all, I was really surprised that a 60Hz player was able to do that well on such a hard level. And I wasn't really suspicious at all at that point, but what started my suspicion, I'd say, would be like the unnerved Paracosm circles, because like the more you looked in that video, the more you just saw completely unrealistic wave movements and everything. And at that point I thought he was speed hacking, because it just seemed like the first thing that came to my mind. But
I agree with you. Watching Unnerfed Paracosm circles really started off a suspicion for me, because there's no way you can do that on 60Hz, maybe even 144Hz. He was like perfectly jitter clicking with perfect consistency. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
And like some parts, he like the ones where he's just like a pixel up or something, it was just very unrealistic, even for like any frame rate really, or refresh rate. Especially since he was 60Hz, I was extremely confused.
So Miles, what about you? What was the first thing you noticed when watching Vortex's completions, and what started your suspicion?
The first thing that started my suspicion, like Zach said, Poltergeist on 60Hz. I mean, that definitely got me intrigued. I wouldn't really say suspicious, but it definitely got me looking into the channel because Pancake Sniffers brought it up. And so I definitely started looking into more of his videos, especially some of his more recent ones. Like, I'll have to say El Dorado, I started to see some things that kind of caught me off guard. Like he said, unnerved Paracosm circles, the inhuman wave movements. I mean, I saw one that had a pixel, maybe 2 movements. It just looked completely fake and illegitimate. Whenever I was watching some of his videos, his clicks were off sync with the audio.
I agree with you. I feel like even if they introduce 360Hz monitors to the public one day, it's absolutely insane that he could make a pixel perfect movement. That'd be insane for any refresh rate.
For my opinion, the refresh rate wouldn't even matter. It's the fact that it's humanly impossible to click that fast. It doesn't matter if you're having some sort of spasm or anything like he said he was.
I completely agree with you. I don't think you could click a single millisecond, you know? You'd have to actually be a robot. Exactly.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, like, when I was getting extremely nervous on, like, Bloodbath and stuff, like, sure, I was, like, making mistakes, but the most, like, jittery that I ever got was, like, maybe, like, less, like, a tenth of a second, not, like, a millisecond.
Yeah,
just,
humans
like,
can't even react that fast, I'm pretty sure.
Very true.
So next question for you, Pancake Sniffers, is if you were to ask any question to Vortex on his legitimacy and get a true response, what would it be?
Well, I honestly, we don't have really many questions to ask about his legitimacy, because we've basically, we've gotten, like, solid concrete proof that just, like, especially leans towards, like, autoed stuff. And I'd say that, if anything, I'd probably ask about his mouse situation, if it was just, like, he was faking it the whole time, because I was so confused by that, because...
Yeah, he kept making points that completely just disregarded anything else he said. He was just covering himself up.
Yeah, because, like, there are, like, parts where it sounded like he broke one mouse, but then when I told him I was confused about how he broke that mouse or whatever, he was like, no, I didn't break that mouse, and stuff, weird stuff like that. And
Yeah, the only mouse I've ever seen break playing Geometry Dash is from Nepesta.
Yeah.
But I also think that he was contradicting himself a lot. I agree.
And even if he got that, like, his mouse did break, I mean, first of all, why would he be still using it? If apparently he, like, especially for El Dorado, I was really confused because he switched mice halfway through the level, and it just, I don't understand why.
Yeah,
and
I mean, that's just honestly probably pretty impossible. I've never tried to hook two mice up to the same computer. I'm not sure if it even works, but still, moving your hand from one mouse to another mouse and getting comfortable on it that's honestly kind of insane. And if you don't like your mouse that much to where you can't play the game completely on the same mouse, then just find a new mouse or something. If you have to switch between mice, I don't know.
the thing is, what I'm wondering really is, like, if he ever, like, really had all these mice, and, like, if he actually, like, bought a new mouse, like, as he's saying that he did for down bass, and if it was an actual office mouse, because I don't know how you could do down bass on an office mouse and get that far.
Yeah, Office Mouse was 60 hertz. That just seems completely unreal.
Yeah.
Unrealistic. So
that's what all I have to say, really.
So Miles, if you were to ask one question to Vortex and get a true response, what would it be?
Okay, my first question would be, are you cheating? Which we already know. I just want to, if he gave me a true response, I want to see how he would give it to me. If he would give an apology, if he would even feel fazed by the question. And then my second question would be, why? What do you gain from it? What do you see that you're getting out of it?
Yeah, I completely agree. That's a really good answer.
My opinion is, he shouldn't be cheating on something that people spend a lot of time on, like you and Pancake Sniffers, who spend a lot of time trying to get good at the game, to get people's attention so that your channels can grow and you can possibly make some sort of profit off of it and help support your family or help support yourself. He doesn't deserve to be gaining from something if he's not actually putting in the work and the effort to improve yourself and get better.
That's 100% true. You've seen people that have cheated in Geometry Dash in the past to try and get a following on the internet, and it just never goes well. They get exposed,
Never.
and they just have the entire community hating on them.
I've seen this on many different games, many different platforms. I've seen Twitch streamers have their careers ruined because of one time that, say they forgot to turn off a hack in CSGO. I've seen people fall from fame to nothing in a day.
It makes you kind of sad that people get to that point and you see their entire career just crumble. It hurts to watch sometimes. But sometimes it feels like they deserve it because they're trying to take a shortcut that doesn't exist.
Very true. Another thing that I would like to add on is, if he were to get to the point that they're at, and then he were to be exposed, things would be a lot worse than they are right now with us. And in our case, we're not necessarily trying to get Vortex banned from Geometry Dash. If he starts making his ways legitimately and he starts doing Geometry Dash right, he starts doing things correctly, then, I mean, I have nothing but support for him, because if he's trying to improve himself and actually make a living off of that, then that's fine with me. But if he's going to try and do something illegitimately and he's not going to actually put forth the time, effort, and will to do something correctly, then he doesn't need to be doing it.
Yeah, that's a really good response, and it kind of leads into our third question. So, the last question that we have is, what content would you rather see from Vortex than these fake completion videos? And if he started doing legitimate content, would you watch it?
Well, honestly, I think he actually showing some promise in his, like, most recent video with, like, the mega collab sort of thing that he was working on. It was looking pretty cool. Looks like if he, like, balanced it out or whatever a bit more, it could be actually a pretty good level. It might even possibly get rated if the rest of the level is the quality I've seen. And yeah, that's what I would like to see from him. more often besides these auto levels, I guess. And yeah, and if he started doing legitimate content, I mean, it's just probably something I wouldn't end up watching, but he could do that.
Yeah, it would definitely catch some people's attention if he... Like, the key to YouTube is definitely consistency. You see people who upload once a week gain thousands of followers. People who only, you know, upload maybe like once or twice a month, it's just not as much.
Yeah, because like once you're uploading less, I guess people expect more from like each video. And if you don't deliver, then that's just not going to turn out well.
Another thing I had to add to that is, have you seen his music he's been producing on his channel? I honestly feel like he could take that up as a career too and keep producing stuff like that. I actually kind of enjoyed some of those.
Yeah, they were pretty nice actually, but yeah, I think he could work on that and try to make that like the focus of his YouTube channel instead of just whatever he's doing right now.
Yeah. He could definitely improve his skills in that and keep doing that if he wanted to. So, yeah. So, same question to you, Miles. What content would you rather see from V0RT3X than the fake completion videos? And would you watch legitimate content that he made?
Honestly, if he started making legitimate content and started putting forth the time and effort, yeah, I would probably watch it, because people who put forth the effort, because I've seen Zach struggle for Bloodbath for over 3 months, even longer, and I could tell it took a lot out of him, and it definitely was hard to go through, but it pays off, and I think that was one of his top-rated, top-viewed videos on his channel so far. So if he started making legitimate Geometry Dash videos, yeah, I would probably watch them. I wouldn't say that I would watch his channel purely because I enjoyed it, but like to support him, sure, maybe. But his music, now, it's not really my style of music, but he's very good at that. I feel if he pursued that as a goal or as a path to take, I think he would definitely gain off of that, and he would definitely go somewhere through that path, because I've seen people who do music channels and they've grown exponentially once they start getting attention. So I think he could go somewhere with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even though it's not, you know, maybe our type of music, some people definitely listen to that music every single day. So V0RT3X, as we move into these next sections in this video, we definitely want you to know that we want the best for you, and if you listen to us now, we can see you growing in the future.
So anyways, guys, transition into the next part. Here's some more proof against him.
Before I continue this video, I want to point out the fact that every level he has played up to this point has been on a copyable. This proves further the idea of him autoing his levels, since he would have to edit them in order to make them auto. In addition to this, he has had particles turned off for pretty much every level that we'll mention in this video, further proving him guilty since blue gravity pads make a particle effect when hit. Also, I won't mention this as proof, but his reactions are very weird and unrealistic for most of his videos. So, next up we have Sakupen Hell. The way that he cheated on this one is very similar to the way he did on Unnerfed Paracosm circles. It is likely that this footage is auto as well. However, for this video, he has edited clicks in. This is proven by the fact that some clicks in it are either not there or very off sync, while others are seemingly on sync. Since it is basically impossible for audio to be on sync in some parts and then off sync in other parts, it is likely that he tampered with the audio, which likely means he either clicked along with the footage and recorded it, or he edited clicks in individually. In my opinion, it is more likely that he was clicking along for this particular video. This is how our conversation went with him. So first, Pancake Sniffers asks how long that V0RT3X has been playing this level, and points out that Sakupen Hell is an extreme demon, not an insane demon. V0RT3X says that he's been playing for a couple days, which he later takes back in another comment, and that Sakupen Hell's wave is easy, and that it should be rated Insane Demon. First off, this claim is absolutely ridiculous, and is an example of his laziness in trying to defend himself and his lack of research. I won't bore you with the rest of the conversation, but you can read it and see that it mostly goes this direction for the rest of the way. You can tell by the way he's speaking at this point that he's likely hiding something, which we were not sure of at the time. His next completion video is for El Dorado, an insane demon by Ancient Anubis. So first, he claims to have beaten this on a copyable by accident, which in my opinion is just a way of him brushing off facts again. So let's now focus on how he did this level. So first, of course, this level seems to have been autoed as well. However, he did make everything look a lot better and more reasonable than his previous videos. All of the wave movements seem to make sense and nothing looks too suspicious. Now, the audio on the other hand is terribly done. Many clicks sound exactly the same as each other, others cut out, and others seem very out of place. At the beginning, he seems to be alternating between soft, medium, and hard clicks at random, which makes everything seem unnatural and out of place. Next, we have the wave clicks. These clicks make close to no sense. For these clicks, he constantly releases before the wave is supposed to. I don't want to try to explain it, so here's a quick clip of it here. He tries to explain this with a proof video of his own, claiming that this is simply how the mouse sounds. Pancake Sniffers managed to find what mouse he used, the M65 Pro RGB in white, a mouse with a retail price of almost $150 despite him apparently not knowing and saying that he just bought the cheapest one he could find off of Walmart. This on its own is very suspicious, but there's more proof. No matter how much we looked for that mouse making that noise, we couldn't find any problems like this for really any mouse. Even mice that were released early didn't make a sound. He clearly either doesn't know how mice work or hopes that we don't know how mice work. My best guess is that he tried to cover up his bad editing with this video, hoping that we wouldn't notice what mouse he had or really anything. So let's get to the video itself. The audio in it, first off, seems like it has been tampered in some way because the quiet background noise is louder than his click and is slightly off sync. The actual content as well proves just about nothing because it doesn't show his monitor at all in it. In the comments section of this video, he makes up preposterous claims, like that he switches mice during the video because the audio sounds different at a certain part. He makes many different unusual claims about his mice through many comments. I'll bring them up on the screen quickly if you want to read them for yourself, but I don't want to even attempt to explain this because of how many times he contradicts himself. A lot of times as well, when he gets cornered in a conversation, he usually just runs away and doesn't respond to that particular comment thread. So back to El Dorado, we pointed out our complaints with the video and he gave us another proof video. This time, he clicked along with either a video himself or just the auto version of the level, with his mouse attached likely to some other device, which explains the RGB lighting that is still there. The movements for this and his completion are exactly the same. Also, if you pay attention to the video, you'll notice that he sometimes doesn't even click when he's supposed to. Every single time that Pancake Sniffers brought this up, Vortex either stalled, played dumb, or just completely changed the subject. One thing I'd like to mention in particular is that he likes to say that him having the same movements exactly is merely consistency, which makes absolutely no sense unless he autoed it, which we have much reason to believe. This proves that he has no excuse for his cheating at all. Again, you can pause the video and take a look at the comments themselves, but they get very repetitive due to the fact that Vortex can't come up with any evidence, so I don't want to go over them all. If you are deciding to look over them all, I'd say pay attention to his quick subject changing. That's basically it for El Dorado, so let's move on.
If you wanna get with me, there's some things you gotta know. I like my beats fast and my bass down low.
So finally, what we have are his down bass videos. These are very obviously autoed. This is made evident by the way he enters gravity portals. Put simply, going this far into gravity portals without making any movement is close to impossible unless it is autoed. Noctifly was actually called out for this exact piece of evidence, which inevitably led to his exposal. Go check out some of the videos explaining this proof. I suggest to look at a video by Synactive, which will be linked in the description. The final piece of evidence that I will bring up is that many of the movements, while not all of them, are exactly the same for both his 35% video and his 45% video, which also proves that he autoed the level. He has yet to explain any of this, only changing the subject to his unusual mouse story that he always goes back to contradict himself with. So that's basically all the evidence that has been brought up against Vortex. So far, all of these remain unexplained by Vortex himself due to his lack of legitimacy and his general laziness. If you think we have missed anything, or that we got anything wrong, comment below and we'll make sure to respond, as long as you give evidence to your claim.